will ring the bell. Clerk will read the caption to a group of privilege resolutions. The clerk will read.
Commending Zishan Peng, Loganville High School's 2014 Star Student. Commending Katie Bostick, Loganville Christian Academy's 2014 Star Student. Recognizing and commending Georgia Prosthetics. Recognizing and commending Rockdale Medical Center for receiving the High Five Award. Recognizing and commending Axel D. Adams. Recognizing and commending Justin Deloach. Recognizing and commending Atlanta Metropolitan State College. Recognizing and commending the Georgia Aquarium. Recognizing and commending the Home Depot Foundation. Honoring the life and memory of Bishop John Lester Cotton. Recognizing and commending Reverend Derek M. Dumas on the occasion of his 7th pastoral anniversary. That completes the reading of privilege resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privilege resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. We are back on the rules calendar. Back on the rules calendar. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 339. Senate Bill 339.
Senate Bill 339 by Senator Stone of the 23rd to amend Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated related to retirement and pensions. This bill having come before the Committee on Retirement. Committee recommends same do pass and be read for the third time.
Chair recognizes Chairman Jacobs to present the bill. House will be in order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring before you Senate Bill 339. This is the rest of the code revision of the annual code revision. We have to do two separate bills, one for the retirement code and one for the rest of the code. These are just technical changes. There are no substantive changes to the retirement code in this bill. In fact, if you look at the, there's also a fiscal note attached, which makes clear that there is no fiscal impact whatsoever to these technical cleanups to the retirement code. So let's all be for cleaning up the retirement code from a technical standpoint. I would ask for the House's favorable consideration of Senate Bill 339. I would expect there are no questions, so I'll yield the
You
well.
do have a question.
I have a question. Good.
You
Miss
have
gracious.
a question.
I'll take it.
Chair recognizes Chairman Maxwell to your right for a question.
Thank you, sir. Gentleman Yale.
I certainly do.
I was just reading here real quickly on lines 14 or so, no, 23, 20 through 26, and on the other page. Are we opening this up for people that were not in the Peace Officer Retirement Fund to buy time back in there now?
No, this bill should not have that impact, and I do not believe that it does.
Okay, it looks to me like it does. Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, no,
No further questions.
all right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would ask for that. Again, this is a technical cleanup bill. I would ask the House's favorable consideration. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. What purpose does Chairman Houston rise?
Parliamentary inquiry,
State
please.
your inquiry.
Can we have the opinion of the last retirement chairman?
I think he specializes in regulated beverages or something now. So,
Okay. He had me questioning.
Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 339 will vote aye. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 339. The ayes are 121. The noes are 44. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption. Well, wait a minute. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 391. Senate Bill 391.
Senate Bill 391 by Senator Balfour the Ninth to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of the Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the regulations of hospitals and related institutions. This bill having come before the Committee on Health and Human Services. The committee recommends the same do pass and be read for the third time.
All right, listen up now. Listen up. We got a bill, and it's going to have offered to it 4 amendments. So you might want to pay attention. Chair recognizes to present the bill Chairman Hatchett. Chairman Hatchett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I rise today to talk to you about one bill. Senate Bill 391 demonstrates our state's commitment to our men and women in uniform. SB 391 provides that each medical facility in Georgia makes a good faith application to the Southern Regional TRICARE Contractor for certification. To effectively deliver quality care to our service members and their families, TRICARE supplements military hospitals with civilian provider networks operated by managed care support contractors. In the southern region alone, the current Humana military network serves more than 2.9 individuals. 2.9 million individuals. This legislation ensures that our soldiers, veterans, and their families have greater access to health care. They've served us, it's time for us to serve them. Now, this bill has become what I'd like to call the Easy Rider bill. We got 4 amendments, 4 other bills, basically, and I'd just like at the end for y'all to remember that what 391 is, and it's to serve our veterans and our servicemen's families and them medical care. With that, I will yield the well and let the others discuss their amendments, Mr. Speaker.
You have no questions on your part. Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Okay, we have some amendments that are being offered. All right, the first amendment is offered by Representative Harbin, and it is AM 281358. Chair recognizes Representative Harbin to speak to his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment is basically a bill that we passed prior to day 30. It just simply allows $1,000 deduction to preceptors who are helping to train in clerkships our future physicians. This is to help us create the workforce, the physician workforce, primary care workforce for those men and women in service when they get out. And we need this out there. It's been held up in the Senate, and this is a vehicle that I think will allow it to continue to move. I'll yield for questions.
You have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for favorable consideration to this amendment.
Gentleman has yielded the well. The next amendment is offered by Representative Peak, and it is Amendment 292328, the Peak Amendment. Chair recognizes Representative Peak.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment you will probably see again. If the original medical cannabis bill that went over to the Senate comes back tonight or on Thursday, this is what the language that we will attach to it and add to it. This amendment defines cannabidiol oil with a maximum THC level of 0.8% as a dangerous drug in Title 16 relating to the code section related to controlled substances. It can only be delivered in a liquid or pill form or by injection and does not include smoking. This would provide a parent or an individual who has obtained cannabidiol oil legally in another state with protection from arrest and prosecution for possession while in Georgia, as long as the individual has evidence of obtaining the oil legally. This would include proper identification on the labeling of the container as required by law. We've worked with the DAs, law enforcement, and the Drugs and Narcotics Agency to make sure this is a workable solution for families who wish to make this personal decision for their children. The individual would be taking a risk of transporting the cannabidiol oil across state lines, but that would be their choice and their personal decision. This is consistent with what Alabama's doing, Kentucky, Florida, South Carolina, and Utah. It gets us away, folks, from the growing growing in the state issue right now. We've completely shelved that completely. We're saying to these families, you can make a decision, personal decision. If you want to go to Colorado, go to another state, obtain cannabidiol oil legally, you take the risk of coming back to Georgia. But once you're inside the Georgia borders, as long as you have evidence that you obtained it legally, you're not subject to arrest or prosecution. Mr. Speaker, I'll answer any questions if there are some. If not,
You do not appear to have any questions.
I ask your favorable consideration on this bill. Thank you. On this amendment. Thank you.
Gentleman has yielded the well. The next amendment is AM 33-1444, the Dempsey Amendment, and it's offered by Chairman Dempsey. The chair recognizes Chairman Katie Dempsey to present her amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment is on your desk, and what it is the exact bill, word for word, HB 511, that we passed on March 7th, 2013, and is still resting in the Senate tonight as we speak. It's known as the bariatric measure. This allows a pilot study in the state health benefit plan for 2 years, very controlled, not only for the candidates who would have that procedure, but to follow them through several years and make sure that we are able to prove exactly how much money we're saving with the intention of reinstating it in the state health benefit plan again. Miraculously, too, I will say thank you to Chairman England, because at this time we actually have the plan and that money in the budget to move forward with it. It is a little bit stuck over there, so I'm asking y'all to consider this. And once again, in March 7th, 2013, it passed our House 152-16. I ask for your favorable consideration. If there are any questions, Mr. Speaker, I will yield for those. If not, I will yield the well.
You don't appear to have any questions.
Thank you.
The next amendment is AM 37-0246. It's the Coomer Amendment. He's joined by Riley and Nimmer. Chair recognizes the governor's floor leader, Representative Coomer, to speak to the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, a life well lived is one where you learn a little bit all the time as you go. Sometimes you learn from friends and sometimes you learn from foes. And I've been learning a lot watching the Senate and how they do things. So this is another attempt to get House Bill 923 back in front of the Senate for them to vote on it. This is House Bill 923 language that was the Journey In Coward Act, the bill that had to do with child fatality review panels. We passed it unanimously in this House on February 26, 2014. And so we'd like to give as many opportunities as possible to the Senate to get a chance to vote on this great bill. Thank you.
You have no questions. The gentleman has yielded the well. Okay. Let's go back now and take up the amendments. The first amendment was the Harbin Amendment. Can the clerk's office put that back up there while we're voting it? This is AM 281358, the Harbin Amendment. What purpose does the majority leader rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
I'm looking at the amendments, and at least 3 of them begin with the language, amend Senate Bill 391 by inserting after oversight on line 4 the following. That would be AM 33-1444. That same language is on AM 37-0246, and that same language is on 28-11358. And my inquiry is, it looks to me like these amendments might have been drawn independently of each other and maybe were not drawn to interface. And it would seem maybe the last one we passed, in the opinion of the chair, might be the only effective one based on this wording. Or am I just completely missing the point here?
No, I think they were all, or most all of them, were expecting to be the only amendment and not expecting this kind of company. There's going to be a lot of room on the bill. What purpose does Chairman Martin rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
To the same point, isn't it true that if we modify a portion of the bill through an amendment, that House rules will only let that be done once, and we would be in a posture that if we adopt the first amendment, the second and possibly third and fourth amendments would then be out of order? Isn't that true, or isn't that possible?
I think that is correct. The first one in, and we have them numbered, is the one we're going to take up first. What purpose does the majority leader rise?
To make a motion, Mr. Speaker.
State your motion.
I move we table Senate Bill 391 and all the amendments.
Majority leader has moved that Senate Bill 391 be tabled. Is there objection? Chair hears none, and it is on the table. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 324. Senate Bill 324.
Senate Bill 324 by Senator Stone of the 23rd to amend Code Section 35-8-2, 45-9-81, 45-9-101, and 49-4A-8 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating the definitions for employing and training of peace officers. This bill having come before the Public Service and Homeland Security Committee, the committee recommends same do pass and be read for the third time.
Chair recognizes Chairman Weldon to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. Senate Bill 324 provides that law enforcement officers that, back up. Probation officers that work for the Department of Juvenile Justice will be going through post-certification when they go into hard situations, difficult situations. They'll be post-certified, post-trained, and be able to handle these situations. That's what this bill does, and I ask for your favorable consideration. Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I'll yield the well.
You don't appear to have any questions. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 324 will vote aye. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 324. The ayes are 159. The nays are 8. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption of Senate Bill 341. Senate Bill 341.
Senate Bill 341 by Senator Stone on the 23rd to amend Code Section 15-9-36 of the official code of Georgia annotated, relating to judges of probate courts as clerks thereof. This bill having come before the Committee on Judiciary, the committee recommends same do pass and be read for the third time.
Chair recognizes Representative Fleming to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, Senate Bill 341 deals with our probate courts and makes basically one change. Right now, in the state of Georgia, the probate court, for any reason, is not available for an uncontested matter. That's where two sides don't disagree, but it's uncontested. In large counties above 90,000, the probate judge can allow the chief clerk or a designated clerk to handle that uncontested matter. It helps our citizens dealing with wills and temporary guardianships and things like that in probate court. All this bill does is remove that population requirement of 90,000, so all counties are able to have the same rule, and it can benefit citizens in rural counties as well. There is, Mr. Speaker, an amendment to the bill that is my amendment that is signed by probably almost the overwhelming majority of the members of the Judiciary Committee. Right now in Georgia, we have case law by our Supreme Court that says that when you stop paying a supplement to a probate judge because they're no longer doing the job, that's okay. All the amendment to the bill does is codify that supplement, codify that case law. Mr. Speaker, if there are any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
You do have a question. Do you yield?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Chair recognizes Chairman Houston to your right for a question. You waive? She waives. You have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for your favorable consideration.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Sorry, there was an amendment. There was an amendment. It was the Fleming Amendment, AM 292309ER. Is there any objection to adopting the Fleming amendment? Chair hears none, and that amendment is adopted. Now, is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 341 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 341. The ayes are 153, the nays are 13. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair recognizes Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 336.
Senate Bill 336 by Senator Ligon III to amend Chapter 10 and Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to cosmetologists. This bill having come before the Committee on Regulated Industries. Committee recommends same do pass and be read for the third time.
Chair recognizes Representative Atwood to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I bring you for your favorable consideration Senate Bill 336. It does some very simple things. It imposes a fine for the first violation by the Board of Cosmetology in the amount of $25, a fine for the second violation in the amount not to exceed $75, and imposes a fine for subsequent violations not to exceed $300. What has happened across the state of Georgia, we've received many, many complaints of cosmetologists who have never had a violation being fined upwards to $1,200, $1,300. And we've seen many, many times this happening. We're trying to bring some sense to this that is more than you would be charged for a DUI. There is also a friendly amendment to this that I'll speak to very quickly, Mr. Speaker, which will nothing in the chapter that this addresses will prohibit any person at age 16 years of age from learning the occupation of cosmetology under an instructor in the School of Cosmetology who has been a cosmetologist for at least 1 year. The age had been 17. A lot of technical schools support this. We're lowering it to 16. With that, Mr. Speaker, I will yield for any questions, if there are any.
You have questions?
Okay.
Do you yield?
I do, Mr. Speaker.
You've got a lot of questions. Chair recognizes Chairman Parsons to your left for a question.
Thanks, Speaker. Gentlemen, yield.
I will, sir.
Yes, sir. I was actually receiving emails from constituents on this bill as you began presenting. I wanted to ask you, is this bill, does it come from recommendations from the board, or where does this bill actually originate from?
This bill sprang from complaints from citizens, not from the board.
Do you yield one more time?
Yes,
does
I will.
the board support this?
I do not know. I will tell you that the one committee hearing I attended with the author of the bill, there was no negative testimony.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do you further yield?
I do, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Rogers to your right for a question.
Gentleman yield.
I will, sir.
Question I have, if a cosmetologist already has 2 fines or 2 penalties, after the governor signs this bill, how does that play into the finage? Is that if they get fined or penalized again?
I would assume that it would start anew. That's where most laws tend to do. That is my assumption.
Further yield?
I will, sir.
Okay. Will you let the board know that once the governor signs this bill?
I intend to have a discussion with the board. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
With that, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. There is an amendment. The Williamson amendment. It's AM 360450. Is there any objection to the adoption of the Williamson amendment? Chair hears none, and the Williamson amendment is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee? What purpose does Chairman McCall rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that it's crazy for us to have to pass a bill like this because of the ridiculousness that some of these inspectors force down on some of these cosmetologists? And I really don't care what the board says. Is it not true?
I am sure that you don't care what the board says, Mr. Chairman, but knowing you as I do, and I respect you for that. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 336. The ayes are 156, the nays are 8. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 337. Senate Bill 337.
Senate Bill 337 by Senator Ligon III to amend Chapter 7 of Title 43, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to barbers. This bill having come before the Committee on Regulated Industries, the committee recommends same do pass and be read for the 3rd time.
Chair recognizes Chairman Coleman to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I bring to you Senate Bill 337, which is similar to the one that we just passed, but this one deals with barbers. The same thing is happening to them. Matter of fact, I was in my barber's shop when this happened about 6 months ago, and the inspector had just fined him $500 for not having 2 bottles of disinfect because he had 2 barbers using the same bottle. And it was a $500 fine, and they told him he could appeal if he'd go down to Macon, take another day off and appeal to do that. So this is simply trying to bring some sanity back to the fines that the boards are doing to these poor barbers and these poor beauticians that struggle just to make a living. So I urge you to please vote yes for Senate Bill 337, and I yield the well.
You have questions if you care to yield.
Mr. Speaker, I think we've already answered them with that other one. Thank you.
There's one of them I really would like for you to.
All right, I'll take it. Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, I will yield the well. Yes, sir.
Although I really knew we should have stopped after we did the budget today. Didn't I tell you all that?
I'll take a question.
Chair recognizes Representative Al Williams to your left for a question.
All right. Thank you.
Well, my friend in the well yield.
Sir, I will. I got a little nervous one, but knowing it's you, I know you'll be kind. Yes, sir, I'll yield.
I have 2 questions. Is it not true that your barber charges you half price?
Yes, sir, he does. But but I get a shine at the same time right up here.
Yes, sir. But is it also not further true that I support this bill because the board is tyrannical and they act like little Gestapos, and something needs to be done about the way they treat barbers and cosmetologists in this state.
I'm sure the gentleman knows of which he speaks. Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, I yield the will. Let's vote.
Gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 337 will vote aye. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 337. The ayes are 165, the nays are 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 367. Senate Bill 367.
Senate Bill 367 by Senator Hill of the 6th. What? Okay. To amend Code Section 50-8-84 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the composition and membership of the Metropolitan Area Planning and Development Commissions. This bill having come before the Committee on State Planning and Community Affairs. Committee recommends the same do pass and be read for the third time.
Chair recognizes Representative Lindsay to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is actually very simple. Underneath the present law for the ARC, the City of Atlanta is allowed to appoint one member of its City Council to the ARC. All this bill does is allows the City of Atlanta's City Council, if they so choose, to allow the President of the City Council to be that appointee. That's all the bill does, Mr. Speaker. I'll be happy to answer any questions. If not, I'll yield the will. I know that there's an amendment, and Representative Jacobs will be taking up that amendment in just a moment.
You have a question if you care to yield.
I'll yield for the question.
Chair recognizes the Chairman of the Transportation Committee, Chairman Roberts, to your right for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
If you're now saying that the president is going to be a member, is that correct?
No, the president, it will simply allow the city council, if they should so choose, to use its appointment. It's allowed one appointment. And if the city council wishes to appoint the president of the city council, they can do so. It doesn't add to the number of appointees that the city has.
Can they currently not?
They currently cannot do it, according to an interpretation of the present law, because the president of the city council is technically not a member of the city council.
One follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
Whose bill was this in the Senate?
It was a undisclosed senator that I'd rather not say.
Is it not true that Hunter Hill?
You know, I'm not real sure about who exactly it did. I don't have the bill with me right now, so I'm really not quite positive whose bill it is. I simply know that it is an excellent measure for my city, and I would ask for your favorable consideration.
Is it further not true by your testimony and your actions? I think you'll fit in well in Washington.
The gentleman knows from which he speaks.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, if there are no further questions, I'll yield the will.
All right, the gentleman has yielded the well. There is an amendment. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Chair recognizes Chairman Jacobs to speak to the Jacobs amendment, which is AM 281362. Chairman Jacobs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, you have an amendment that has been distributed on your desks, AM 281362. What this amendment does, this was a provision that was in Senate Bill 95. However, this has nothing to do with nonpartisan office. Let me repeat that. This has nothing to do with making any office nonpartisan. What it does is deals with, and this is a unique situation that has arisen in DeKalb County, but I will also say this. The DeKalb legislators generally are on the same page about how to approach this issue, and this amendment is co-sponsored by myself and the Minority Leader, Representative Abrams, as a way to deal with the problem. The problem is this: when Lee May, the current interim CEO of DeKalb County, was appointed interim CEO by the governor to fill the position because our existing CEO was suspended because of an indictment. He, under current local law, holds both his position on the county commission and the position he was appointed to. All this does is allows the county commission, or if someone is appointed off a city council, it would apply there as well, allow that position to be filled on an interim basis for only so long as the suspension goes on or that person's term on the county commission or city council ends, whichever comes first. And it would be done by the remaining members of the county commission or city council through an interview process. So all you are doing is allowing folks who might go unrepresented because there is no law covering how that position gets filled to have representation on a city council or county commission. Again, generally speaking, the DeKalb delegation is on the same page about how to approach this. I would ask the House's favorable consideration, and Mr. Speaker, I will yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Gentleman has yielded the well. There is an amendment that is authored by Chairman Jacobs and the Minority Leader. It is AM 281362, the Jacobs Amendment. Is there objection to the adoption of the amendment? Hearing none, the amendment is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 367 will vote aye. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 367. The ayes are 136, the nays are 33. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 298. Senate Bill 298.
Senate Bill 298 by Senator Murphy, the 27th, to amend Code Section 40-2-74.1 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated, relating to special vehicle decals for persons with disabilities. This bill having come before the Committee on Motor Vehicles, the committee recommends the same do pass by committee substitute and be read for the third time.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the Motor Vehicles Committee, Chairman Rice, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 298 came over here from Senator Murphy. And the bill basically, when it came over here, provided a nice little fix to disabled parking stickers. All it did was, normally you get your doctor to prescribe and you have to go and get it notarized, the affidavit notarized. This just provides, all you have to do is get the affidavit signed by the doctor on security paper, and you don't have to go through the notarization process. Every one of these things is always notarized. There's never a question about them, so it's a step that we can take to help the disabled people with their ability to get a decal. The House committee added substantially to the bill from House Bill 671, which did pass Judiciary Non-Civil unanimously. It was the result of the Title 40 Study Committee. And what you'll find in Section 1, particularly in the 22 different areas that it touches in Section 1, 17 of them are cleanup language that basically changes the definition of some courses that are required by law for people that have various offenses in the driving code. There are a lot of housekeeping provisions in here that have to do with DDS. They have some space on the license they need for some other things, and they want us to take off some of the requirements that are there. You'll find that in the amendment to the bill. It's also, this bill also has in the amendment the firefighters license that we passed out of here early on did not get on the Senate calendar. The major provisions in this bill are basically three, and that is if you're going to have a ticket dismissal or diversion of a ticket, you have to be, and you get assigned a course to take, it has to be a DDS approved course. There are courses all over the lot in different types of venues that are recommended, and they really don't meet the requirements. And a nice thing, if you have an expired license but you're valid, you have an opportunity within 31 days. If you get pulled over, you're not going to get a misdemeanor offense for that. That's also in the bill. There are other provisions in terms of the types of things you have to do to take a DUI risk reduction course. Some pricing changes on that I'll tell you about, but they haven't had a pricing increase on these courses in 10 years, and most of them lose money in the schools that presented them. So, Mr. Speaker, that's the content of the bill. I'll stand for any questions.
You have no questions.
Thank you. I appreciate your consent to the bill.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. There is an amendment that is offered by Chairman Rice and Chairman Powell. It is Amendment AM 390080. Is there objection to the adoption of the amendment? The chair hears none, and the amendment is adopted. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute as amended? The chair hears none. The committee substitute as amended is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 298 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of Senate Bill 298, the ayes are 166, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 326. Senate Bill 326.
Senate Bill 326 by Senator Jeffries, the 17th, to amend Code Section 20-3-202, the Official Code of Georgia Annotated, relating to the creation, membership, officers, compensation, expenses, organization, duration, and quorum of the private colleges and universities authority. This bill having come before the Committee on Higher Education. The committee recommends the same do pass and be read for the third time.
Chair recognizes Representative Rutledge to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Senate Bill 326. It's dealing with private colleges and university authority, and it's doing a couple of things. What we're doing is allowing for teleconferences for the board meetings, and along with that, to earn the per diem, you will have to attend the meeting. So if a board member decides not to attend the meeting and they're doing a teleconference, they will not receive the per diem. And the other thing that we're doing is we're going to be allowing which will really affect the private colleges like Young Harris colleges with the campus police law enforcement. It will allow them to go 500 yards beyond the campus in case of when they need to do that. And in most public colleges now, they're able to do that. So this language has already been passed from this chamber twice. So all we're doing is adding this language to the Senate bill. And at the proper time, Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask for unanimous consent to a floor substitute.
Do you yield for questions?
Yes, I yield.
Chair recognizes Chairman Roberts to your right for a question.
Gentleman yield.
Yes, I will.
Under the amendment that you were referring to with private colleges, that you're extending it out another 500 yards. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I hope that I am, but if you live within that 500 yards, you're now outside in your yard with a gun. At that point, could you be considered carrying on that campus?
That wouldn't be part of the campus.
So they don't have the jurisdiction to go out and do anything there. In other words, if I'm across the road, the police officers cannot, from that campus, go across the road and have any jurisdiction.
From the way I understand it, the campus border is the campus border, right? And all this does is allow the law enforcement officer from the campus to be able to go outside of that campus in pursuit of a bad guy. If you're a law-abiding citizen and you're on your private property inside that 500 yards, you shouldn't have any problem with that.
No, but my question is, now we're giving them that authority to go outside of the campus. You said a while ago campus, and then you just further said to go outside that campus. So I'm just trying to make sure. I mean,
right.
We had this debate last year and all over this same issue that we had a lot of concerns about, and
right.
I'm just trying to make sure I can get
I understand, and as a father of a child at college, and if something happened on campus and it extended outside of campus, I would want that law enforcement officer to pursue that.
And you're saying currently they cannot?
Not with the population below 400,000. No, private colleges. Private colleges are not.
But one more further question, and then I promise I'll be quiet for now anyway. But with this, we are defining campus. We're basically going out another 500 yards. Am I correct?
I don't interpret it that way. The campus border is the campus border. All we're doing is allowing the campus police officer to go outside of that campus line to pursue a bad guy.
Okay.
I mean, that's the way I interpret it.
I know.
Do you further yield?
Okay.
I take it that's a yes.
It's a good experience.
Good experience. Well, let me just pick somebody out here then. Chair recognizes the minority leader of the House to your left for a question.
Would the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it not true that the language that is being referred to in this bill, the term campus police, the phrase campus only applies within the context of the authority of the police officer? Therefore, with regards to Chairman Roberts' question, We are not changing the definition of campus for the purposes of any other provision of law. We're simply changing the provision for the purposes of allowing a campus police officer using this authority to continue any activities that would have been lawful on the campus, meaning that if he seeks to pursue a person leaving the campus, he has the authority up to that 500 yards outside of the campus perimeter only for the purposes of exercising the authority granted to him.
The lady knows exactly what she speaks.
Thank you.
Do you further yield?
I would yield the well at this point and ask for unanimous consent to the sub.
Okay. Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question. Previous question is ordered. What purpose does Chairman Willard rise? Hit your button. I can't hear you.
Inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
Is it not a concern that many of us have that private police departments on campus maintain the privacy of their records and will not have those allowed to be distributed to the public like other police departments do?
If the gentleman states that, I'm sure he believes that to be true.
Is there not also a possibility, Mr. Speaker, if they are doing this work off campus, they will maintain that same degree of privacy of records that occur from incidents they investigate off the campus?
I'm sure the gentleman believes that to be true. What purpose does Representative Sims rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr.
State
Speaker.
your inquiry.
Is it not true that on public colleges this is already law, that this was already the rule of the law? This just allows, is it not true, the private colleges have the same aspect of having that police department help in dealing with criminal activity or traffic activity or whatever else may need to protect the students of that said university or college?
If the gentleman so states, I'm sure he believes that to be true. All right. Is there any objection to withdrawing the committee sub and adopting the floor substitute? Is there any? There is objection. Does the gentleman move? Does the gentleman move? So the question before the body now is the adoption of the floor substitute. All those in favor of adopting the floor substitute will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Okay, have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the adoption of the floor substitute offered by the gentleman from the 169th District, the ayes are 51, the nays are 112. The adoption of the floor substitute has been defeated, and we're back to the underlying bill. Back to the underlying bill, Senate Bill 326. with, there is an amendment offered to it, two amendments. What purpose does Chairman Earhart rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your
Mr. Speaker.
inquiry.
Is it true that the subject matter of the two amendments that are on the floor is exactly the same as the substitute that was just defeated? Isn't it true that that would be a redundancy and a dilatory motion on its face?
All right, I think we're about to take care of that problem. Chair recognizes Representative Rutledge for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to withdraw Amendment AM 281356.
All right. Is there any objection to the motion to withdraw Amendment AM 281356? Chair hears no objection. All right, now we're back to the underlying bill and one amendment, which is AM 281355. Is there, we've ordered the previous question. Is there any objection to adopting Amendment AM 281355? Any objection? Chair hears none. That amendment is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of Senate Bill 326 will vote aye. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of Senate Bill 326. The ayes are 168, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. The chair recognizes Chairman Battles for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask the House to disagree with the Senate substitute of House Bill 295.
Chairman Battles moves that this House disagree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 295. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 295 by Representative Battles of the 15th. To amend Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to revenue and taxation, so as to provide for the comprehensive revision of provisions regarding ad valorem taxation.
Chair recognizes Chairman Battles to explain the Senate substitute to House Bill 295.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A number of changes that have been made in the bill that we sent over to the Senate. There was quite a few amendments. Matter of fact, there were 9, I believe, total amendments that was made over in the Senate. Plus, there was some items that was removed from this this piece of legislation that was important to this body. So we're asking that we disagree so that we can now send it back, see if we can work these out before we make any final judgment calls on what we pass.
On the gentleman's motion that the House disagree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 295, is there any objection? Hearing none, the House has disagreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 295. The chair recognizes Chairman Cooper for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 965.
Chairman Cooper moves that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 965. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 965 by Representative Cooper, the 43rd, to amend Article 1 of Chapter 13 and Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to controlled substances so as to provide immunities from certain arrests.
Chair recognizes Chairman Cooper to explain the Senate substitute to House Bill 965.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The House sent two bills over to the Senate. 965 was the one that was the 911 amnesty bill that allows for someone who stays with somebody who is in dire physical distress if they've had a drug overdose to not be charged with a crime or for using drugs if they'll call 911 and stay with a person in distress until 911 comes. We sent 966 over. It was about the Narcan. That is the drug that will reverse opiate overdoses. And in the Senate, they put them together. They also added a provision for alcohol, because so often when young people, and we are having a high rate of overdoses in young people between 18 and 29, they are also drinking alcohol. And so the Senate added the alcohol provision. We just didn't have time to do it in the House and get okay from the prosecuting attorneys. In the Senate, they limited that, just like we did on the narcotics, so that it does not cover bartenders. It doesn't, you know, they can go after a bartender that's giving kids too much to drink, or another student who is pouring drinks down another student. Those are not covered. They do not get amnesty. So that's what they added, and I would appreciate your positive vote on this combination bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Stevens. What purpose does the chairman rise?
Make a motion, Mr. Speaker.
State your motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that amendments AM 331471 and AM 331461 be removed as drafting errors.
Chairman Stevens had a couple of amendments on this measure, and he is ask unanimous consent that those be withdrawn. Is there objection? Chair hears none. They're withdrawn. On the lady's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 965, all those in favor will vote aye, those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the lady's motion, the ayes are 146, the nays are 23, and this House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 965. This House is going to be in recess until 8:50, about 20 minutes. Take a 20-minute recess. We'll be in recess. Okay, I just wanted to give y'all a little update. We're not going back in quite yet. You know, we reach a point in a session when we have a few things that we still need to kind of resolve, and we're working toward that right now, and I'm not sure how much longer we'll be here. We're going to hope that it won't be too long, but we're going to continue to be at ease. I anticipate probably at least for another 15 to 20, 25 minutes, and the Senate is passing bills over there, and we're having discussions with them, and so, but I didn't want you to think we had forgotten that we have a House of Representatives out here. So we're going to continue to be at ease, and we'll get back to work here just as quickly as we possibly can. And when we come back, I have instructed everybody that we're going to have everything lined up so that hopefully we'll be able to have a full agenda, no stops, and work till we stop for the evening. All right, we'll be back to you. We'll continue to be at ease. All right, the House will come back to order. We're going back to work. Going back to work. Clerk will ring the bell. Clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Recognizing and commending the Jonesboro High School mock trial team, honoring the life and memory of Ruth M. Lewis, congratulating Brookview Elementary School on its annual Career Day event, recognizing and commending Jimmy Mima Luton, honoring the life and memory of George Duke Beasley, recognizing and commending the Honorable Order of Kentucky Colonels, honoring the life and memory of Sherry Rochelle Hopkins, commending Grace Towns Hamilton and her work with the Urban League of Greater Atlanta, honoring the life and memory of Reverend Dr. David Sonny Randolph Scott, recognizing Pastors Douglas and Ingrid Thompson on the occasion of their 26th wedding anniversary, recognizing and commending the Osborne High School girls basketball team, recognizing and commending the Osborne High School boys basketball team, recognizing and commending Mrs. Donna Smith on the occasion of her retirement, and commending Truett Cathy. Completes the reading of privilege resolutions.
Is there objection to the adoption of the privilege resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. All right, if you're keeping up on the calendar, you might want to make a note that on the third calendar that we were operating on today, Senate Bill 294 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Also on that same calendar, Senate Bill 343 will be postponed to the next legislative day. All right, on the fourth calendar, might want to make a note that Senate Resolution 937 will be postponed to the next legislative day. Okay, also on the fourth calendar, if you want to make a note, Senate Bill 304 is postponed to the next the next legislative day. Senate Bill 304. This House will come to order. House will come to order. The chair recognizes Representative Tanner for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 741.
Representative Tanner moves that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 741. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 741 by Representative Tanner of the 9th to amend Chapter 5 of Title 12 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to water resources.
Chair recognizes Representative Tanner to explain the Senate substitute to House Bill 741.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The only change that was made from our version of House Bill 741 you find on line 37 and 38. We struck the word subsection and made it section. After discussions with the EPD during the committee process in the Senate, that change was made. That's the only change to the bill from the version we passed, and I would ask that you give it favorable consideration. Mr. Speaker, I'll be happy to answer any questions. If not, I'll yield the well.
You have no questions.
Thank you.
On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 741, all those in favor will vote yes, those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines.
Yeah, if you have like
Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 153, the nays are 1, and this House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 741. Chair recognizes Representative Strickland for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 845.
Representative Strickland has moved that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 845. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 845 by Representative Strickland of the 111th to amend Code Section 50-18-72 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to when public disclosure is not required.
Chair recognizes Representative Strickland to explain the Senate substitute to House Bill 845.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. In the Senate committee, I made one change to the bill on lines 16 and 17. This is a mugshot bill, by the way, we passed 171 to nothing. I added one line for the sheriffs in here that says that law enforcement agencies can still post images for administrative purposes. I thought it was already clear under one of the sections here, but just to make certain that our law enforcement agencies can still post these images to private websites that they just have access to. We add that clause in there. Ask for favorable consideration. I'll take any questions.
I have no questions.
Thank you.
On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 845, all those in favor will vote aye, those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 156, the nays are 0. This House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 845. Chair recognizes Representative Tanner for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1183.
Representative Tanner has moved that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1183. The clerk will read the caption.
House Resolution 1183 by Representative Tanner of the 9th, proposing an amendment to the Constitution so as to provide that the General Assembly by general law may impose additional penalties or fees for the offense of reckless driving.
Chair recognizes Representative Tanner to explain the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1183.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The change you'll find on line 27 is the question. As we were moving to vote in the House, Speaker Pro Tem Chairman Golick and others discussed the need to clarify the wording in the question that would be on the ballot. We did that in the Senate, so that's at our request, and I would ask that you give it favorable consideration. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to answer any questions.
You have no questions.
Thank you.
On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1183, all those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 147, the nays are 6, and this House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1183. The chair recognizes the chairman of the House Transportation Committee, Chairman Roberts, for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House agree to the Senate substitute to the House Resolution 1544.
Chairman Roberts has moved that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1544. The clerk will read the caption.
House Resolution 1544 by Representative Roberts of the 155th, honoring the life of Major Henry Talmadge Elrod and dedicating a road in his memory.
The chair recognizes Chairman Roberts to explain the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1544.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the road naming bill this year. We passed it over to the Senate. The Senate then added everything that they had in the Senate to this piece of legislation, as well as anything that we took up in the committee after we had passed over. There was some problems with one road that we had sent over, and we were concerned that we would end up with two bills naming roads in honor of different people. So we put it all into one bill, so this will be your road naming bill for this year, Mr. Speaker. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer. If not, I ask for your favorable consideration.
No questions. On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1544, all those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 154, the nays are 2, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Resolution 1544. The chair recognizes Representative Harrell for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 737.
Chair recognizes clerk. Representative Harrell has moved that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 737. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 737 by Representative Harrell of the 106 to amend Chapter 5 of Title 3 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to malt beverages.
Chair recognizes Representative Harrell to explain the Senate substitute to House Bill 737.
The only changes made in the Senate were to change the Senate structure and some punctuation on lines 56 through 58. There was no substantive change to the bill at all. I would ask your favorable support for this agreement.
You have no questions. On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 737, all those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 148, the nays are 6, and this House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 737.
But I know, I'm hyperactive.
Chair recognizes Representative Lindsay for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As to House Bill 943, I move to adopt AM 213908.
Representative Lindsay has moved that the House adopt Amendment AM 213908. Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 943 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24, Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding insurance.
Chair recognizes Representative Lindsay to explain his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All right, folks, day 3 of Groundhog Day. HB 943 includes not only the language, the amendment includes not only the original language contained in the bill that passed out of this House at a vote of 158 to 6. Somehow I suspect the vote this time will be just a little bit lower, but should still pass overwhelmingly. Basically, what it does do is, after a great amount of vetting and working with individuals on the second and third floor and other places, we've come up with language that we believe is appropriate in terms of HB 707, which this body has voted on twice already. I'm not going to go over the bill as a whole, but I will go over the changes since the last time that we discussed this bill. If you look at page 2 of the bill, you'll see along the lines of lines 39 through 42, the language has been tightened up to make it very clear that what we're talking about is dealing with the expansion of Medicaid as prescribed underneath the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. We tighten up the language to make sure that unintended consequences that some folks were worried about in terms of possibly affecting other areas of Medicaid, we did not wish to be involved in. If you look at lines 45 through 53, there was some concern that when we cited employees that we were also including public officials. As we stated in our last discussion, we believe, based on discussions with legislative counsel, that employees did not involve public officials, but to simply make sure that there is no confusion along those lines, we have clearly and explicitly set out that public officials in this state, in the course of exercising their duties, may, of course, argue for the expansion or retraction of Medicaid underneath the Affordable Care Act as they may seem to see fit. Section 1.3 of the bill is essentially the same as what we've seen previously in the other 2 times that we've discussed this bill, dealing with exchanges. And that's essentially the bill, Mr. Speaker, in terms of additions and changes. I want to emphasize that there are some in this chamber that wish to do less with this bill, that oppose the policy of this bill. There are some in this chamber that wish to do a great deal more when it comes to opposing the Affordable Care Act. What this bill is today is a strong statement that the General Assembly is following the will of the overwhelming majority of the people of Georgia in opposing the Affordable Care Act. For those who wish to do less or wish to do more, that's what this General Assembly will be assembling next year on the second Monday in January. But this bill this year, I believe, makes the type of statement that we all, in our caucus at least, believe is in keeping with the will of the people of Georgia. In regards to the cancer bill that our good friend Representative Hawkins carried, it is essential, what we have essentially in here is the exact same language that we passed out previously. With that, Mr. Speaker, I'll take a couple of questions, but we've already debated this issue extensively.
Chair recognizes Representative Hawkins to your right for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Of course.
The language from my Cancer Treatment Fairness Act is word for word. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
And does the gentleman yield again?
Yes, sir.
And this language will allow Georgians to receive oral cancer medication for diseases like multiple myeloma, and these are drugs of choice, leukemia, myeloid leukemia, and afford Georgians a better life.
Yes, sir, it
Thank
does. And I do applaud you for your work on the original bill. I believe that the overwhelming majority of this chamber is strongly in favor of your measure. Let me, in closing, Mr. Speaker, I'll take one more question. I did say I'd take two.
Chair recognizes Representative Holcomb to your left for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, of course.
Does this mean that the Benedict Arnolds, the King George III, and the Myrmidons will not be identified?
I believe that each representative in this chamber should be able to speak for themselves on such language. I don't believe that in 10 years in the House I've ever used that kind of language in any kind of debate. But I do understand those who feel very passionate about this issue may have a different opinion and may wish to express it in a different way. It's not how I would, but I certainly do appreciate how someone else might wish to express it. Let me close by thanking some of the people that have worked so hard on this amendment. My good friend, the representative from Camden County, Representative Jason Spencer, has worked extremely hard on this amendment as well as this issue in general. We've also worked very closely with the staff of the Speaker's office, and I do thank the Speaker's office for working so closely with us on this issue that we care so much about, as well as other entities on the second and third floor that also worked with us over the last few days. Some folks may question once again this bill, but no one can question whether or not this bill has been thoroughly vetted in both committee and on the floor of this House. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield the will.
Gentleman has yielded the will. Is there any objection to the adoption of the Lindsay amendment? There is objection. Does the gentleman move? Gentleman moves. On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Lindsay Amendment 213908, all those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the adoption of the Lindsay Amendment. The ayes are 108, the nays are 47, and this House has adopted the Lindsay Amendment to House Bill 943. Chair recognizes Representative Lindsay for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Very briefly, I move to adopt the Senate substitute to House Bill 943 as amended by this House.
Representative Lindsay moves that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 943 as amended by this House. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 943 by Representative Hawkins, the 27th, to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24, Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to the general provisions regarding insurance generally.
Chair recognizes Representative Lindsay to explain the Senate substitute and the House amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The hour is late. The debate on this issue has been thorough. I applaud both sides on this debate for how we've conducted ourselves, but let us now move forward and vote. Mr. Speaker, I yield the will and ask for the favorable consideration.
Gentleman has yielded the will. On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 943 as amended by this House. All those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 943 as amended by this House, the ayes are 106, the nays are 48. This House has agreed. All right, if you signed up for an announcement, make your way to the front of the chamber. The chair recognizes the chairman of the Natural Resources and Environment Committee, Chairman Smith, for an announcement. Give the members your attention, please. We have a new house photographer, it appears. You get what you pay for these days, I guess, huh? Chairman Smith is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. This is an announcement about a meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the CLOB room 606. It's a joint meeting for the Joint House Education and the Natural Resource and Environment Committee. Will be meeting again in 606 CLOB at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative LaDon Jones for an announcement.
Really quick announcement. All are invited to join us tomorrow for a little bit of relaxation before sine die. Many of the women legislators will be over at the Iwi Fresh Garden Spa, 41 Nelson Street. So please join us to relax before we get started on all our hard work on Thursday. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Chairman Reinders for an announcement.
The happily married for 31 years, Chairman Reinders in the well doing what his wife told him to do. This is a third grade homework assignment. This is Flat Stanley. And he's been in the House of Representatives now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Shaw for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know we're off tomorrow, but a lot of us live too far from home to go there. And I know a lot of us will be here working tomorrow, so we're going to have a good lunch tomorrow. The Rural Caucus will meet at 12 noon at the normal location across the street at the Department of Agriculture. See y'all there.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the Economic Development and Tourism Committee, Chairman Stevens, for an announcement. Chairman Ron Stevens. Chair recognizes Representative Flood for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Thursday morning at 8 o'clock, the House Democratic Caucus will meet, 8 o'clock on Thursday in room 216 of the Capitol.
Chair recognizes Chairman Alan Powell for an announcement. Chairman Powell. Chair recognizes Chairman Weldon for an announcement. Chairman Weldon going once, twice, 3 times. All right. That completes the announcements. The chair recognizes for a motion the former Majority Caucus Whip, Representative Edward Lindsay, for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House adjourn until 9:30 Thursday, March 20th, for what will surely be a fun-filled day 40.
On the motion of Representative Lindsay that this House adjourn until Thursday, March 20 at 9:30 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed will say no. The ayes have it. This House will be adjourned until Thursday morning, March 20th at 9:30 a.m.